So today we're going to talk about fire as an element in astrology. And in astrology, there are three signs that belong to the fire triplicity. And those are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Planets also get allocated elements, and our fire planets are Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and we also have our midheaven, our midday point on the chart, our MC, which we'll discuss at a later date. That is also allocated the element of fire. Now, fire is a masculine principle, so it is generally outgoing. And fire, if you think about it in nature and in our physical lives, it is an extremely useful, wonderful, in some ways, element because we can cook our food with it, we can heat our homes with it, but it can also be an extremely dangerous element if it is left unchecked or unregulated. It can be very destructive. So now we look at what is the element of fire, how would a planet express in a fire sign? And these are generalizations, obviously. There are negatives and there are positives of each expression, of each element in a sign. And obviously, we would always look at the entire chart as a whole as well. You never look at just a planet in a sign as that's what a person's all about. Okay, it's always taken as a whole. So fire signs are usually the following. We'll start with the positives, the more positives. Fire signs are usually very creative. They're enthusiastic. They love to explore. They're adventurous. There's a joy for life and, just a joyfulness and a celebration of life. Passionate, playful, life force in action, very energetic, optimistic. They're usually very self-assertive, unless there's something else in the chart that shows that the person would not be. It's the desire for life, fire. It's very much linked into the desire for life, delight in expression, physical action and creation. Can be very intense, stimulated and stimulating, courageous or brave. Sexuality and procreation are very much tied into the fire planets and signs. At its worst, if it's over the top, it can be over the top sexual or overtly sexual or even hedonistic. The lesson is love with the fire signs. Fire signs can be very helpful and kind, enlivened and animated, energetic, taking the initiative, especially with Aries being a cardinal sign, idealistic or visionary. And it's the primal force behind creation, fire. The negatives is that it can burn out from ceaseless activity or endless activity. It can consume itself and consume things around it. If there's no direction or practical outlet for that energy or that creativity, it may not result in anything or it could be harmful. The downsides is that there can be a lack of empathy or even ruthlessness, can be self-imposing or egotistical or self-absorbed, too loud, too over the top. It can be too impulsive, even risk-taking, fire. And can be self-indulgent or foolhardy and can be selfish. Okay. Strong morals and values and things can come in with the fire signs and fire planets. At the worst, though, a person can be a zealot or an over-the-top fanatic in that area if it's not checked or regulated. At the very worst, a fire energy or in a fire sign can destroy the efforts of others. So, fire seen as hot and dry, and we have the different states of fire. So Aries is your blazing fire. It is the inferno. It is radiating intense heat. And if you think of it, of what we've learned already, it's spring quadrant, self to self, and it's that very youthful, and it's cardinal initiative. So think about what you've learned and apply it to the element of fire. Leo is the creative fire. It's the smoldering fire that radiates sustained heat. It's like the fire in the hearth or the fire that the blacksmith uses to create. And think about it, Leo is in the summer quadrant, 1-to-1, more family and very personal, and creating our homes and our careers, and it's a fixed sign. Then Sagittarius is seen as the flying sparks, or the firebrand, or the torch. And Sagittarius is out in the autumn quadrant, a little bit older, a little bit more wiser and more mature, although I sometimes wonder if Sagittarians ever totally mature. But the Sag energy is very philosophical, again, very out there. And Sagittarius can be the whole Sagittarius energy can be very inspiring and inspirational. So that torch, those sparks going out, and Sagittarius are known for traveling and for exploring, and these sparks going out and then setting off new fires or inspiring, and can ignite others to explore and whatever themselves, whether it's the world or whether it's philosophies, etc. And so you can see how the different stuff that we've learned already about cardinal, fixed, and mutable, our modalities, the seasonal quadrants, how it affects the type of fire in each quadrant, and learn to start applying that and seeing how would this work. Okay, so fire can be, the fire signs can be, and the fire planets, and anything expressing through a fire sign can be fascinating. I mean, how often have you, if you think of when you sit and look into a fire, and the ever-changing patterns and things that we see in fires, they can be hypnotic, they can be fascinating, but they can also be very destructive. Okay, so that's your fire element, and the next element that we are going to do will be earth. Look forward to it. Bye.